Hi, in this video, I'll be talking about early signs of developmental delays. But before I go into the early signs, I would like to pass across to you some information that I think will be necessary and will be important for one to know. 1 in every 59 children is diagnosed with autism. 1% of the global population is affected. Autism can be diagnosed as early as 18 months, sometimes even a little bit younger. And all the signs start showing even a lot earlier. I'll be delving into the early signs. I also want us to know that this autism, which is called the Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, it's everywhere. You have children from all races, children from all socioeconomic groups being diagnosed with autism. So it has nothing to do with your social class, it has nothing to do with the race. There's no race that has it more than the other, even though it's genetic. We'll get to that, but it's everywhere. It's all over the world. And like I said, 1 in every 59 children has autism. So it is something that everybody needs to be aware of, and every information that has to do with helping children and adults that are, on the spectrum is very, very useful. Even if we're not directly, affected, we definitely know somebody that is affected. So we could be able to offer help and assistance to the person. Also, we need to know that boys are 4 times more to be diagnosed with autism than girls. The reason? Nobody knows. Just like one doesn't know the cause of autism, a lot of our questions are being asked and no answer can be given yet. And when I finish with the science, I'll talk a little about, what people think cause autism and the research behind the responses, whether they really cause it or not. Like the MMR vaccine. I'll be dealing with that when I finished talking about the science. So the early signs you can see in your child are as follows. Your child will not make eye contact. You're talking to him, he's looking everywhere but at you. You're saying something to him, he's looking at every other way. He's looking around, looking away. He would not, even when his head goes past where you are, he's not gonna look at you. Eye contact. No eye contact. The next one is they like to be alone. They don't want to socialize with anybody. You put him in the classroom, he picks up a toy, he goes to a corner of the classroom to play with a toy by himself. He does not even engage in parallel play. That is, another child playing beside him. He'd rather separate himself to go play all by himself. He does not want to socialize. He likes to be by himself. Even at home, if the baby is little and you're seeing this, that he has siblings, but he does not want to play with his siblings. He likes to be by himself and doing different kinds of behavior that we're going to be talking about, then that is something to, that's a red flag that one have to start thinking of getting help for this baby. And also, he does not point to an object. He doesn't point to any object. Even when you point to one, he doesn't look at it. If you remember the milestones that we dealt with in my previous video, we spoke about, the child at a certain milestone age being able to point to, objects in the environment, being able to look at something that an adult is pointing to, and all. This child will not, children that are later diagnosed to have developmental delays do not point. They do not engage in any form of interaction, with the adults and even with peers. And then they have problem relating with others, like I said. They don't even notice them around. They're rather, thinking about, they're in their own world, their mind on something else. They don't look at anybody. They don't see anybody. They're just there playing and in isolation, all by themselves. They do not show empathy. They have problem understanding emotion. You're crying, they'll be laughing. They don't understand what cry is. Regular, typical developing kids, when you're crying, they start crying. They see somebody crying, they start crying. But not with a child that have some, this kind of delay. He has no emotion, or he doesn't understand emotion. Let's put it that way. And he also preferred not to be cuddled. He doesn't like being touched. He doesn't like being hugged. You want to hug him, he will push you off. He doesn't like it. Sometimes people, it's said it's more of sensory. He doesn't like being touched. He wants to be left alone. He do not also respond to people when they talk to him. When they call his name, he's not gonna. A lot of times the parents will think, "Is my baby deaf? He's not hearing me." I think he has problem with hearing. And a lot of times they go to see the ENT doctor. They won't check out on their hearing because they think their baby is going deaf. But no, he is hearing you, but he just does not want to respond to you. You know why? Because he hears other sounds around him. Any other sound, loud sound, he will quickly cover his ears because a lot of times they don't like very loud sounds. So he heard it. He heard when you're talking to him, but he doesn't want to respond to you because he does not want to respond. He doesn't want to relate with anybody. He does not like to socialize. He doesn't want to relate with anybody. He likes to echo and repeat words for those who talk, because many do not talk. And autism is a very broad spectrum. People fall into it at different levels. And no two autistic children are the same. There's a difference. But some fall into one category and don't fall into the other. So you have some children that have words. They could say things. Some of them, the words they have is just reciting the letters or saying the numbers or saying the shapes. And the children that are in this category really, confuse their parents because for them, they don't really see that the child has a problem until much later. Sometimes they don't even know the child has a problem until when the child goes to school, like to preschool. And at this time, he has missed out every help he would have gotten in early intervention. So why? Because the child was talking. You say, but he talks. He's very smart. He says the ABC. He can say the A to Z. He can say the 1 to 20. He can even say 100. He can count in tens. He's very smart. He knows all the shapes, even the shape that are not even common. He knows all of them. He knows a lot. Yes. Some children know a lot. They're very high in some aspects, but very low in other aspects. The children in this category, a lot of times, are very low in their social skills. They are able to, sometimes even they know more, they even operate, they can, be able to be in a classroom. They understand contents, but they don't play with peers. They like to be by themselves. They don't engage in functional communication. You talk to them, they don't talk to you back. They only respond when they want to respond, not when you ask them. The words they know are not being used functionally. They're only being used in isolation. And we know that the words we learn, the ABC, the alphabets that we learn, is just the beginning of being able to, be able to know, when you put the letters together, they make a word. You know A, B, C. When you put the C and the A and the T together, that gives you cat. C on its own doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have any meaning. It's just a letter. But when it's used in the content of a word, then that's where it's useful. So this is what these children lack. They know A, they know B, they know C. They could say it in order. Sometimes some of them can even say it at random. They could pick up any letter and tell you what it is. But they're not able to use them in context. So, like I said, it's different. The children is a very large spectrum. At different, people are in it at different levels, and they share some things in common, and they're different in some other areas. So, they do not, So for those who talk, I just described the problem that they do have, and then there are also children in this on the spectrum who do not talk. Some of them don't even babble. The babbling that should be in the child's repertoire as early as 7 months. A child that is 2 years and a half, that is 30 months, it doesn't babble. He sits down in one place. He doesn't say anything. He engages in other behaviors that I'll be talking about later. So they come in different ways. So once you see your child, he's age 8 months, he's not babbling, you should be concerned. He should be babbling. Even though he doesn't say anything, he should be, exercising his vocal cords in preparation to be able to talk. Then the next thing we also are going to see, another sign, is they do not engage in pretend play. They don't understand pretend play. You give them banana to pretend, even the plastic banana, they put in their mouth. That's for those who understand the concept of banana being food that should be eaten. Some don't even understand that concept. They don't know how to feed a doll. They don't know how to put a phone on their ears and say hello, pretending to be talking on the phone. All those, they're like very common, skills that children have, but the children in this category that are in this, on the spectrum do not have it. Also, they do not know how to repeat actions, like to imitate something that you do. You do hands up or clap hands or high five. They don't know, some of them. And then they engage in repetitive behavior. We'll call it stimming. It could be hand flapping. Just be flapping, flapping their hands. And as they're flapping, they're getting excited. You look around, what is exciting them? You don't see anything. They're flapping their hands, some are rocking themselves. So it's different kinds of movements, self-stimulating movements that they engage in. And then for those who plays with toy at all, who accept toy, see you give it to them and they accept it, they don't know how to play with them. You give a child on the spectrum a car, instead of pushing the car on the table to pretend that the car is moving, he will turn the car upside down and start spinning the wheels. That's what the child is going to do. So when you see your child not playing functionally with toys, when he should, that should also be, a red flag. Other times, those of them that like cars, they like to line up their cars. So when they are playing, like I said, they like to play by themselves. So they have the cars, which in their toy boxes, they bring all the cars out, they line them up. And they like to look at things in angle. You see them doing like this. They line them up, they're using the side of their eyes to look at the car. They like to look at things in angles. And also, another thing that, I would want to bring up at this point is that there are some children who, from birth to 15 months, were developing typically. They crawled with a little crawl, they babbled, they said mama, dada. Some of them were even saying a few words. And then between 15 months and 17 months, you have a regression, a relapse. Everything goes away. And that is why, many people started associating autism with MMR. That's measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines, because the children get to get it at that stage of their life.